Guys, I am excited to be filming this video here today because today we are going to be upgrading my audio setup. So if you've been around the channel for a little while, and even if you haven't, what I've been using for the last couple of years is this guy right here, the Blue Yeti. And for the $80 to $100 that I paid for this thing has served me really well over the last couple of years. I think it sounds great. It's a USB mic, it's easy to use. And once you get it set up right, I mean, it does a great job with your vocals, especially for the kind of videos that I make here on my channel. And you might also realize that I did have it off of the stand that it came with, and I had it on this guy right here, which is a boom arm, just so I can move it around and, you know, put it wherever I need it to go. Well, going into 2021 here, I was kind of thinking about it. I recently, you know, upgraded my studio setup here with a lot of acoustic blankets and stuff. And I was thinking, you know, how nice would it be to get this out of my face, right? While I'm sitting here talking, making the videos for you guys, as well as this boom arm, because I gotta be honest, a lot of times this thing's just in the way. The way the microphone sits on there and the size of it, it's kind of just right in front of me as I'm looking at the screen, and it's just in the way and it's kind of annoying. So I thought, you know, maybe we'll go ahead and upgrade our audio. And you know, I loves me some good audio, right? Who doesn't, right? We all want good audio in our videos. So what I thought I would do is go with a boom mic that comes in from up here that sits just out of frame. And you might see a lot of other YouTubers go with that setup. And I just thought that, one, I can set it up, leave it there, and it's gonna catch me here. It's gonna catch me while I'm on the screen, you know, working in DaVinci Resolve or whatever else we might be talking about, YouTube tips or whatever it is. So I don't have to move it around. It's not gonna be in my way, and I'm not gonna be bonking it or anything like that. So I just think it would work out really well. So with that in mind, let's put all this stuff on the side. Woo! Swing that guy out. Put this guy down here for now. And in case you guys are wondering, the microphone that I'm recording this with now is actually the Rode Filmmakers Kit wireless lav mic. And this mic is great for a wireless lav. I've had this for a couple years too, and it works great. So I've got the, you know, the lav mic here, got a receiver there, and on top of the camera, I've got the wireless receiver pack that receives a signal from the sending pack down here that I'm wearing. So that's what I'm using on this video, in case you were wondering. So what are we gonna be upgrading to? Well, the first thing that I was thinking is that I wanted to move to a XLR mic setup. And the reason for that is just because I think you can get better microphones that are XLR versus just a simple USB microphone. So I was looking to go middle of the road. I didn't want to spend $1,000 on a mic. I wanted to get something, you know, a couple $100 and, you know, something that's good quality, that is hopefully gonna make my audio sound great, I'm hoping. And that's kind of was what I was looking at. So getting started here, the first thing that I went with was this guy, the Sennheiser MKE 600. So this guy actually came as a little kit with a few other parts here. It came with this guy, which is a shock mount for it. So this is a boom mic, obviously, and it's pretty big. And I thought, okay, well, if I'm gonna have this and I'm gonna have it hanging up there, granted, I'm not moving around with it, but I probably wanna use some kind of shock mount for it. So I happened to find a deal on Amazon that this Audio-Technica shock mount came with the MKE 600. So I was like, okay, cool, sign me up. So just so you know, out of the box, this guy, if you were just to get the microphone, is 320 bucks. So not too bad. I mean, it's pricey, don't get me wrong, it's pricey, but I think it's a good upgrade from what I had with the Yeti. And before you get to the really expensive mics, you know, upwards of $1,000, I think this was, at least from all the research I did, the reviews I looked at, and samples I've heard, and all that kind of stuff, this mic was the one that seemed to fit the bill the best for me. And then again, the shock mount came with it, and also this little guy came with it too. So what this is an adapter. You can plug in the XLR end into the microphone, and then you can plug the microphone directly into your camera. So if I wanted to put this on top of my 5D Mark IV over there, I could, although that's not the setup that I'm gonna be using, but since it was a package where you got, you know, this little adapter, you got the shock mount, and you got the microphone, all that together was $349. So that's pretty good, because I think this guy was like 50 bucks by itself or something. So $329, 50 bucks, you're already over what the little kit together here costs. So I think that worked out pretty good to pick that up. So other things that I needed was an audio interface. Because it's XLR, I can't go directly into my computer. So I did a lot of research on audio interfaces. Again, I didn't want to spend a fortune. I mean, you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on these things. So I was kind of looking at the Scarlett Focusrite, I believe it's called, looking at those audio interfaces. And then I happened to stumble on this guy, and it got great reviews, and even better than the Scarlett. And that is this guy. It's made by Audient, and it's an EVO 4. Everything that I read, this thing is killer. It does a great job. It's got 2 XLR inputs on here. It can have headphone jacks that you can plug right in. I believe it can provide phantom power to the mic if you need it. So this thing, from what I've read and the research I've done, and other YouTubers I've seen kind of review this thing, it got a ton of great reviews. And the crazy part is that this was actually cheaper than the Scarlett one. So this was $129. So that's what I'm going to be using as an audio interface here to hook it up to my computer. Now, a few other things that I picked up that I thought I would need, well, definitely going to need an XLR cable. So I picked up this guy. Let me check my notes here, see how much that was. That was $17. So I just did a little research on Amazon, looked for cables that got good reviews, that weren't, crazy expensive, because cables are important. I mean, if you got a bad cable, it could make your mic sound like junk, or the cable could just crap out on you early or whatever. I thought it was important to get a decent set of cables. So this is 25 feet, and that's a little overkill for my studio setup here, but I figured if I ever need to take this mic and go film, say an interview or something, 25 feet should be more than enough to cover what I need. So we picked that up. Now, in addition to these, I needed some way to have it boom in. Now, I could use that boom arm that I just showed you before, but I don't want it hanging off the back of the desk. The whole point is to kind of clear up my space a little bit so I don't have things in the way. So when I bought my big softbox up here, I ordered 2 light stands from Amazon. And I've only used one because I just have the one softbox. So I do have this big old light stand here from Amazon. Whew. So I figured, you know what, let me just get a boom arm that I can mount on the top of here that'll cantilever out, and that should be good enough that I could boom in the microphone. And once we get into setting this stuff up, you'll see how I'm gonna kind of drop it in here. But so I had this light stand and I wanted to pick up a boom arm for it. So that's where I found this guy. And if we go ahead, I'm going to open this up here. So here's what we got. So this is the boom arm I decided to pick up. So I got it on Amazon, did a little research, and again, I didn't want to spend an arm and a leg on a boom arm. I mean, it's just going to sit here, in my little studio. It's not going to be moving around for the most part. So I went with one that was fairly cheap. I believe this was $17. Let me check my notes. Oh, no, it was actually $26. And all these things will be linked down below in case you're interested. But this should fit right on top of my light stand, and then I can just use it to boom the mic in up out of frame there. So I think this should work out pretty good, but we're gonna give it a try and kind of see how it all comes together here. And it also comes with a little sandbag, which is nice if you need a little counterweight. I know I was about to throw out a bag of sand I had in my garage, and I'm like, hey, you know what, let me keep it. I can fill this guy up with this. Don't buy a sandbag with sand in it, right? It's gonna cost you extra to ship it. Just buy your own sand for a couple dollars at Home Depot, right? So that's nice that it comes with that to balance. Although this thing's so light, I don't think I'm gonna need it, but if I were to put a light up on there or something, maybe you need to counterweight it a little bit. So that is the setup here of what I'm gonna be putting in. We're gonna go through this together, and I'm gonna film the whole process just so you guys can see what's involved in kind of getting this set up, tweaking it and all that. But first things first, I think we need to unbox this stuff. So I'm gonna unbox these in this video. You can check out the description below or the little time codes to see where each one of these things are if you only wanna see a particular item, or if you don't care, you can skip past it. That's fine too. I may take all these and make an individual video later on with just an unboxing of each one of these. So if you're interested, you guys check those out too. So anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna clear this out. We're gonna get started unboxing these things one at a time here. All right, so the first thing we're gonna unbox is the microphone itself. Let's see what it comes with and what you get. So again, this is the MKE 600 by Sennheiser, and Sennheiser makes great audio products. You can go check out their website. They do all kinds of great stuff. And all the things that I bought, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can jump to those real quick and check them out. And one thing I thought was interesting on the side here, they've got the different models of mics. So they've got a 200, a 400, a 440, and a 600, which is this one. So this one was the top of the line of this, level of microphone. So let's get in here and see what we got. So this is a directional microphone. It should come and pick up just my voice, and from what I've seen, it does a great job of isolating the sound and not picking up extra noise either behind it or to the side of it. So let's see what we got in here. We have a nice little bag that you can keep it in. I like that. It's got a little padding in there. That feels good. We've got our instructions, and I always recommend reading the instructions because, hey, with new products, as much as you think you know, you might learn a little something. So I'm gonna be checking that out for sure. It's packed in here nice. We got a little bit of foam. All right, not too shabby. And let's see. So obviously we have the microphone in here, Sennheiser MKE 600. And I believe this does take a AA battery, although you may be able to run phantom power to it from your audio interface, which I think the one I got can do. So I'm gonna have to check the manual out. So right off the bat, this thing does feel solid. It's got a nice feel to it. It's all metal. It's got some weight to it, you know? It's not just a light, flimsy little thing. You know, it's got some solid build to it, I would say. So on the top here, it does have an on-off switch. So when you put in your battery, you're gonna turn it on or turn it off. And there's also another button on here on the top that looks like it is a, what is this guy? Either high pass filter or nothing. So if you want to cut out that low end, if you're getting too much boom in the, you know, boomy sound or low end bass, you can go ahead and throw on that high pass filter and it'll cut out everything below a certain level, which I'm sure it tells me in the manual. So that's kind of cool. I'm curious to see how that'll work. So let's put that back in there. We want to keep it safe. And also in here we have, looks like a little mount for it here so that you can mount it to the top of your camera. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this is a little too big to put on the top of a camera. I mean, this is probably 8 inches, I guess. I know, it's pretty big. I mean, look, it's as big as my head, right? So I don't think I would put it on top of a camera, but maybe you need this mount for something else. So, but it's nice that they send you that. And then you have a, what is this guy? Like a little windscreen thing on there, Sennheiser. So a little foam thing. How much would it do outside? I don't know. I mean, thankfully, I think inside, I'm not gonna need it. I don't have a wind in here, right? Plus, I've got all these acoustic blankets that I put up, so hopefully I won't be needing that. And it looks like there was a space for something else in the package here. Not really sure what went there. Maybe it just depends on what kind of package you got with your stuff. So that is the mic. That's what comes in it. We're gonna, again, set this up using the audio interface that I got, and we're gonna actually get into unboxing the audio interface next. So I'm gonna clean this up. We're gonna get into that audio interface. All right, so the EVO 4 by Audient. Like I said, this was 129 bucks, and that ain't so bad when it comes to audio interfaces. It's pretty cheap, actually. So let's see what it comes with here. All right, nice little box there, a little flat black. We have EVO by Audient. Got a little instructions, looks like a quick guide here. Kind of quickly tell you how to get this guy going. And one of the things about this is I read that it takes a little bit of time getting used to the buttons because there's not a whole lot of information there. A lot of it works by the lights and the dials and everything, but or by the one big dial, I should say. But you know, it seems like it's not gonna be too bad. You know, you play with it for a little bit, we get it figured out here. So let's see what we got here. Little silica gel, nobody needs that. This guy looks nice. I'm gonna say off the bat, it does feel a little plasticky. Although I was expecting that because I watched, like anybody does, right? Went to YouTube, watched tons of reviews on it, and that's what I gathered from what people were saying, that it does feel a little plasticky. But the preamps in here are supposed to be really good. So like I mentioned, I was looking at some of the Scarlett ones, and from what I read and heard and saw in videos, it seems like that the preamps in here were better. So that's why I went with this one. And it's a little cheaper too. So hey, why not? So you've got a bunch of different buttons on here. We're gonna cover what they do when we get into setting it up here. And you've got one main dial that kind of adjusts all your settings here. On the back here, it looks like we have 2 inputs for XLR cables. So for example, maybe you're a musician, maybe you're singing into one mic, you got your XLR going in, and then you've got your instrument in another mic going into here. Or maybe you have 2 microphones, you're running a podcast or something, maybe interviewing somebody. You can use both of those inputs for either one of those situations. Then you also have some outputs here to stereo speakers if you need to, if you got monitors that you're listening to. And actually, that's one thing I might look at down the road, is put some studio monitors out here. But anyway, always an option, right? Then right here, it looks like we've got our USB jack, and you just plug it into there and then plug it right into your computer. On the back side, it looks like we have another, looks like, what's the bigger size? What's it, 1/4 inch 1/4-inch jack here for your guitar or whatever. I forget, I think it's 1/4-inch, right? And then you've got a bigger jack here for your headphones too, so that you can plug your headphones directly into here. Now just looking at the top of this unit here, we do have a 48-volt button here, which in my mind, without reading the instructions, tells me that I can send phantom power to the microphone. So I don't know if that means with the microphone that I chose, if I don't have to use batteries in it. That would be sweet if I didn't, because then I don't have to remember about turning it on and off, right? So we'll get into that and see how that works once we get her set up there. What else is in here? And you also have the USB cable here that connects this to your computer. So that should work out pretty good. And that's everything that's inside the box here. Again, the little quick instructions, I'm gonna check this out. I'd recommend you always check out the instructions too. There's a lot of knobs and buttons on here, and I'm not sure what they all do, so hopefully this tells me, and if it doesn't, then I'm sure I can go online and figure it out too. So that does it for the unboxing. I think everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Nothing to unbox. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and move this camera around. Let's get going on setting this guy up. So we're gonna start to set this up, and I'm just gonna show you what I do, because if you're looking to upgrade your audio system or audio setup, it may be interesting to you. So first thing I gotta do is grab this big old light stand that I had gotten and see how we can hook up that boom arm to this. So again, this is a light stand I got on Amazon. I got a 2-pack. They weren't that expensive. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to go check them out. And you know, the base of this goes pretty wide in case you got a big light or whatever. You know, you need a good base and need it to be extra sturdy, but you can make it whatever size you want. So I'm actually going to bring it down a little bit here. Now I'm going to have kind of a lot of stuff going on this side of my table, because I usually have my softbox right here. I'm going to have the microphone coming in right about here, so whether I'm facing my screen or I'm facing my camera, which is usually right over here, that I don't have to move the mic around. But that's gonna be great, because it's a pain to swing the boom arm mounted to my desk around, you know, and then trying to see with the microphone from you, you know, that's part of the reason why I'm upgrading this whole setup here. So, all right, so we got this guy. Now let's see how this boom arm goes on here. Here, it looks like it's got a little arm on here that we're gonna be able to, I don't know, raise and lower it or something. Let's see. So I've got a place to hang the bag on the back here. And there's a couple different knobs on here you can see that adjust, let's see, like where this sits on here, so how far you boom out, as well as how it fits onto the light stand. So go ahead and tighten this down for now, and let's see how this guy, looks like it just slides on top here. Just gonna loosen it up. Now this should just fit right on here. Perfect, and it does. I'm just gonna tighten it down, and that should keep it from going anywhere. All right, so, I mean, it's not gonna come off now. You can pick up the whole light stand with it, it's fine. So if I loosen up this guy now I can bring it up, and then I'm gonna have that shock mount up here so I can have the mic aiming down. So that should work out all right. So I don't know, I'm just gonna put it right here for now. So it's slightly wobbly, a little bit. Yeah, that's better. So there was like a little, I don't know, little cap on there on top of the screw, because depending on what kind of mount you got, you can screw something on there if you need to, I guess. So now what we wanna do is put on the shock mount. So let's see if that fits onto here or how that mounts up. All right, so here it is, the Audio-Technica shock mount. Is it just me, or do we all hate these plastic cases that are a pain in the butt to open, right? Oh man, killing me, Smalls. This does have a threaded end on it, and up here I don't have a threaded end. So I wonder if I'm going to have to buy something where I can thread into here and put it into here. Now this end did have a thread on it, but that was the wrong size. All right, so we're gonna have to figure that out. How can I mount this guy up? But just looking at the shock mount here, it's, you know, rubber bands on the inside. So if you take a look in there, got rubber bands in there. Let me just take a moment here and see how I can get this hooked up to that. All right guys, so after taking a look at it and seeing the threads on here, I don't have an adapter that's gonna fit on here right now. So a little bit of a bummer, I'm not gonna be able to try it out tonight, but there is a camera store that's local here. Maybe I'll take a run over there and see what kind of parts they have that I could put on here, so then I can thread this onto here like that. I'm sure that there's something that will work. There's all kinds of weird attachments and stuff, right? So I'll give that a try. Maybe tomorrow I'll go see what I can find. So for now, we're just gonna move on, and when I get to getting that part, then we're gonna throw the rest of this on here. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But that's how I'm gonna mount it up. I'm gonna have this right up here like this with the shock mount, and the microphone's gonna be coming down this way. So this is gonna work perfect once I get the part that I need for there. So let's move on to the next step here, which is we're gonna be putting the audio interface here on my desk and getting some cables hooked up to it. Go ahead and open this guy up. So we do have the USB cord again and the audio interface. but I'm gonna be putting it right over here off to the side on my desk, because a lot of times I take my monitor and I'll put it right in front of me while I'm working and editing, but when I go to film, I gotta move it out of the way. So I just scooted over where you see it now, and I want the audio interface there to kind of be out of the way. So I think just over there is gonna be fine. Next, what I need to do, grab my cable. So like I said, I got 25-foot cable here, which is more than enough for my situation here, but just kind of planning for the future in case I need more length for any reason. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll just wrap it down and I'll run it around and we'll just plug it in over there so it's all good to go. So the end that you want to go to your audio interface is the open end, the one that's got the 3 pins in it. The other end, which is solid with 3 holes, that's gonna connect to your microphone. So we're gonna go ahead and just run this guy down. I'm just gonna wrap it around there for now. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and plug this into input 1 here. Okay, so that's set up there. And then I like that there's a headphone jack right on there. Pretty sweet, so I don't have to go directly into my computer if I don't want to. That should work out pretty good. So we're just gonna grab our USB and I'm gonna go plug it into the computer, and that should be set up and good to go there with that. And you know, maybe we could even just hook the mic up and just give it a try too and just see how that sounds, right? So like I said, over here is my computer. I've got my Drobo over here, which is where I keep all my files that when I'm done working with them, because I also have a Samsung T5 SSD drive where I keep all my active projects. And then I also have a little hub over here because I got a Mac, so not a ton of ports, you know, and where I can plug in my USB stuff. So we'll just plug this guy directly from the audio interface into that USB and send her right into the computer. All right, we got that guy plugged in. Now I can see we did get a little bit of lights on there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plug in the microphone over here just to kind of see what happens, right? Let's try her out. All right, that's it, got the microphone. I mean, even though we can't mount it up here, we've come this far, right? We can't not try it, right? So I'm just gonna check this out real quick to see if I can use phantom power from the audio interface, or if I just gotta throw a AA battery in it. And I did hear that these things last a long time on a AA. So even if I do have to throw one in there, shouldn't be a big deal. But if it can take phantom power, perfect, that's even better. And the great news is it can take phantom power right from the audio interface. So that is perfect. So now I just wanted to mount it on something, you know, so it's not just sitting on the table here or whatever. So I do have an old Canon 60D over here. At least I can just mount it on the top for now so we can try it out. So we'll see how it sounds. So I'm gonna just take this guy, and this is just to hold it. I'm not gonna film with this camera. I'll continue using this one, but this is just to have a way to hold this. So now you look at the back here, there's 3 pins, and that's where your XLR cable is gonna plug into if you're not familiar with this kind of setup. And it'll click into place when it's in the right spot. There's also a little button down here on your XLR cables to plug it in and out. So that's kind of how that works. Okay, just slid that in there. One thing that I did notice is the shock mount on here, it's actually pretty soft, which makes sense. It's gonna pick up any of those vibrations that you might get from anything. I notice a lot of, especially the cheaper mics I've tried out, the shock mounts they give you, they don't really do anything. They're so stiff that, you know, it doesn't absorb any shock. So like, well, what's the point other than just to hold a microphone? So, all right, so that's that. Now there is an on-off button here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. And right now there's no light that's coming on over here. So I don't know how the audio interface works yet. We're gonna figure that out. But there is a 48-volt button. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit that and see what happens here. Okay, so now the light came on. What I did was I hit number 1, channel 1 on my audio interface, which is where I have my XLR plugged into. And then I hit the 48-volt button over there, and boom, that sent the power right over here. So that's sweet. I don't have to worry about AA batteries and all that kind of stuff. The power's just coming phantom power right across the XLR cable. So that's pretty sweet. I'm happy about that. All right, let's flip this setup back around. We're gonna go ahead and try it out and talk about the audio interface here a little bit, talk about the instructions on how to work that thing. And hopefully this is interesting to you guys. If it is, give it a thumbs up, like the video, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think so far. Also go subscribe if you haven't already. So we're gonna see how this sounds, and let's go ahead and just start playing with this stuff, eh? All right, guys, we're rearranged here, and I do have the Sennheiser MKE 600 on top of my old Canon 60D just to sit here for now. I hooked it up to the audio interface like you saw. So now let's just talk about the instructions real quick, because when you first look at this audio interface, there's not a whole lot that you can just assume or tell what to do here. So looking in the instructions here, and I'll throw it up on the screen for you. First, you connect everything up, which we did, and you'll see the LEDs illuminating, which we are right now. The next thing that it says to do is head on over to their website and download some drivers. Now, a lot of times you don't need drivers on a Mac, but I did head over to the website and I'm throwing it up on the screen here. You can see that there are there's some documentation as well as Mac drivers. So I'm gonna go ahead and download the Mac drivers. We're gonna see what that does. And it looks like there's an app that runs the software for this audio interface. Although I did see the audio interface pop up in my system sound settings already. So I don't know, we'll just drag this over and see what it does. I'm sure there's more options or features or something for us to work with. So you just drag and drop it into your applications, and I guess we should be good to go. So if I check my applications here, I do have it, it's right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that up and just see what it's got. Would like to access the microphone, sure. So it did say in the instructions there might be a firmware update, and looking at the screen here, it does look like we've got a firmware update. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, okay, update. So let's click okay to continue. And then it looks like we get this screen here. It's gonna say next. We're gonna leave it on from Audient here. So I just reopened the app here on the computer and it popped up the update firmware message. So I'm clicking update and it says initializing. So we're just gonna let that run and see what happens. All right, so that should be good to go. And looks like there's all kinds of different things here on the web that we can check out. Should be kind of cool, so I'm gonna check this out later. So we're good to go. The audio interface is updated. And now we're gonna take a look at this guy. I'm gonna throw it up on the screen here for you, and we're gonna walk through these steps and see what we get. Since I don't have a better angle, I'm gonna record this on my phone here. So first, we wanna press the Smart Gain button to begin, which is this guy right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit that. And we can see we've got a little bit of blinking going on. Next it says, the Smart Gain LED will illuminate green and the input channel LEDs 1 and 2 will begin to flash, indicating a channel must be selected. So I know I'm in channel 1, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit 1. Press the Smart Gain again to begin the process. All right, so we are beginning the process now. We got lights flashing. It looks pretty cool. It says the Smart Gain LED will start flashing red. The volume LEDs will illuminate, indicating that Smart Gain mode is now listening. Start playing or performing into the microphone. The Smart Gain mode will dial in the correct levels, and when complete, the Smart Gain button will flash green twice to indicate that it has been successful. So I don't know if it's been successful yet here. Sorry about my bad hand holding, trying to hold my phone and read here. It'll flash green twice to indicate it's done. Well, I wasn't watching it because I was reading the paper here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit it twice and see what happens. So I just ran through it again and now it's working. I can see my levels coming in. The smart level did work. What happened before is my 48 volts turned off, so I didn't have any phantom power going to the mic. So now it's working. You can see it coming in pretty good. So the next step is to make sure we're connected up to the computer. And I'm actually gonna come and make sure I've got the EVO 4 selected. And I'm just gonna jump right into GarageBand and try doing a recording here. Now, I don't know if this is gonna work. We're gonna try it out, see what happens here. So I just hit record. We should be recording here from the MKE 600. Just to check, I'm gonna jump to the lav mic real quick. You should be hearing the lav mic right now. And now I'm gonna jump back to the shotgun mic that's here right in front of me. So really curious to see how well this sounds. Even though we don't have the full setup yet, really interested to see what kind of tone I get out of here. What does the sound like? And then how can I work with it in Fairlight? Because I'm always going to do a little bit of processing to it just to make it sound as best I can. So we're going to have to just give it a try and see what it sounds like. All right, so that does it for the sample. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording here. So what did you guys think about that? Leave a comment down below. What did you think of that first sample there? So real quick, I just thought it'd be a good idea to do a little test here of moving to the side of this microphone before I get it all mounted up, where it should be fine for my sound. But if I come on over this way, you know, I'm sitting on the side of it. How are we picking anything up? Are we even picking anything up? I don't know. I mean, when I look at the screen and what I'm recording, the levels are much lower. And if I come over even farther, you know, the low levels get even less, which is perfect. That's what I want. I want it to cut out everything that's around the microphone and just come directly towards me. And that's why I want it boomed up in, so I can talk to the camera here, talk to the screen here, microphone's gonna pick me up, and no extra noise. Even though I've got all these acoustic blankets up and it's pretty quiet in here, but you do get the occasional noise, or maybe the kiddos run downstairs, you know what I mean? So, I'm gonna see how that sounds. What's happening, guys? It's the next day here. I made a little trip out to a local camera shop called Unique Photo. If you're in North Jersey, maybe go check it out. Kind of like a mini B&H, it's pretty cool. So anyway, I needed this little bracket right here is what I got. And I'll throw some images up on the screen here for you to check it out. But basically, if we take a look at the boom arm I got here, on the end there, it's the kind of end that it has is really for, you know, like a light or something like that to hook onto. And when I bought the microphone, it came with this guy. So this is how I was gonna mount the microphone onto the boom arm. But on the bottom of here, this has threads on it, and you know, it wouldn't obviously thread onto there because there's nothing to thread onto. So I need an adapter to go from the boom arm to the shock mount. So basically it's super easy. I'm just gonna take this, and this just slides and sits on top of here. I take my screw out enough, slide through there, boom, tighten it down, and now I can attach my shock mount right on top of this. So that's gonna be perfect. So like that. And now on the shock mount here, it's got a 5/8 thread on the bottom here, or if you take it off, it's got a 3/8 on the bottom here, which matches the screw on here. So if I just take this guy off, take off the little bolt on here, and now we're just gonna thread this guy on here, should work out just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn around this angle so you can see how I'm gonna set this up over here, and then we're gonna have to go through and reset our levels here on our audio interface here, just so that everything looks good, levels are good, and before the little sample that you heard there, that was just, you know, with the microphone right here. So wanna get it all set up how I'm gonna use it, and then we'll go ahead and reset the levels and everything. So let's get into doing that. So let's go ahead and mount this boom arm back up. And if you guys are interested, I'm gonna put links to all this stuff in the description. You can go over and check any of this stuff out. They are Amazon affiliate links, so if you do buy anything, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support my channel and all the videos I make here for you guys. So anyway, let's pop this back on. So I'm thinking this boom arm is gonna have to come up a little higher. And it did actually come with a little bolt, so I might throw that on there and just kind of see how that fits in. And see what we got there. And I expect that a lot of this is gonna be kind of fine tuning and you know, just kind of working with it to see what will work best for my setup here. So another thing that's kind of cool with this little bracket, and I'm actually gonna try this out now, is you can put it on this way as well as through this way. So I think that's actually gonna work a little bit better here for me. And we can angle our mic wherever we want. So that's gonna work out good. It's like a little puzzle here. It's like putting puzzle pieces together, right? So we're just gonna go ahead and work this through the middle of the rubber bands here, like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hook on our XLR cable and leave a little slack in there. I don't want the wire to be too tight or anything. I don't want to make any kinks, and I mean, this feels in there pretty good. I don't think it's going anywhere. And at least if it does fall or slip for some reason, which I don't think it will, you at least have the cable here, which is going to catch it, and it's not going to go anywhere. So I think that should be just fine. All kinds of little extra parts around. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the big soft box here, because generally I have it like right here, you know, so you light me up pretty good. Go ahead and bring that in like that. It's working out pretty good. So I'm actually gonna now take the camera, bring it back over here to where I would normally put it for filming my videos, and we're gonna turn this guy on and try it out and start to see how it's working. So I'm gonna do that. If I get the other camera going here, the 5D Mark IV, which I have over here, is that I've got an old iPhone and I use it as a monitor for the camera. So when I'm sitting here filming you guys, I can use my phone here to change settings on the camera or whatever I gotta do. And this is kind of what it looks like from my perspective looking at you. Got my monitor, computers over here, camera right there, now boom mic up here, and we got the big softbox. So that's kind of what that's looking like. And we got GoPro look here, and then over there is we got the 5D Mark IV look. So now it's just to run some samples here and see what we can do as far as position and what makes sense. And then I'm gonna go ahead and set the levels on here again, and we're gonna see how this guy is sounding. All right, guys, we're back. It's another day here. I did do some more testing and trying things out as far as the features on both the microphone and the audio interface. And the audio that you're hearing right now is my new setup. It's out of the Sennheiser MKE 600 microphone and the EVO 4 audio interface. So I just tried a lot of different settings. There's some cool features like loopback features on the EVO 4 that you can play with, all kinds of cool stuff. And I wanted to make sure I ran enough tests that all this stuff worked good. So I spent quite a bit of time just trying things out and just kind of seeing how it works. But overall, first impressions of this setup, I think it sounds really good. I definitely think it sounds better than my Yeti. And I think that the files are going to need less processing. So everything that you've heard in this everything that you've heard in this last segment here has no processing on it, just straight out of the microphone, just exactly how it was recorded. But starting now, I'm gonna go through and process the audio and do whatever I think might be necessary. Probably a little EQ, maybe a compressor, maybe a little gate, kind of depends what I think it needs once I get back into the computer and take a look at this clip here. But overall, I'm definitely impressed, and it's really nice to have space here. I mean, man, I feel like I got tons of room to move around, right? It's good to not have that boom arm coming in, because as good as it was better than having the stand right in front of me. It's nice to not have it here at all, and I don't got to worry about it. And then I can turn this way, it's fine. The boom mic is right up here out of frame, and that works out really well. So I'm excited to get using this, start making some more videos for you guys with this new setup, and I think it's going to work out really well. So I will be making more videos about both the EVO 4 audio interface as well as the Sennheiser microphone that I'm using, just to give you some more information on it and show you exactly how the different features work and all that kind of stuff. So those videos will come in time. I want to use them a little bit and get a better feel for them. Although, like I said already, I'm pretty impressed with this setup and it's working out really well. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up for me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And hit that bell too so you get notified when I put out a new video. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace!